After the dissolution of Jason Pierce's first group, Spacemen 3, a psychedelic space rock outfit turned inside out by its band members' rampant drug habits, Spiritualized was formed with a new idea in mind. After two well-liked records, Pierce and company would break boundaries with their third collective effort. Arriving at a tumultuous and depressing time in Pierce's life, with his girlfriend and bandmate Kate Radley secretly marrying Richard Ashcroft, frontman of fellow English band The Verve, while his drug addiction began spiraling out of control again, Ladies and Gentlemen, We Are Floating in Space stands as Spiritualized's magnum opus 22 years after its release, with its heart-wrenching songs of heartbreak and finding solace in misery being its most captivating factor. Today, we're going to take a look at it. If any of you have heard the name J Spaceman, the name of Jason Pierce's stage presence, then you're likely aware of Spiritualized. Their arrival with 1992's laser-guided melodies, at the beginning of the new age of Britpop, as bands like Blur and Oasis were gaining their footing, could not have come at a better time. The shoegaze and neo-psychedelic genres that dominated the late 80s and turn of the decade were beginning to die out, and critics were moving on to the next big fad. In a way, Jason Pierce wanted to make sure that these genres didn't fully die out in British music, as he would release another album in 1995, Pure Phase, that continued this swirly, shoegazy sound. He would head back into the studio for a third studio album with his Spiritualized bandmates that same year, eventually culminating in the release of Ladies and Gentlemen 2 years later. So what can I say about this album? To keep it simple, it is lush, it is orchestral, it is beautiful in all the wrong ways. The heartbreak that Jason writes in his songs, whether it's truly personal or not, is immersive. There's no definitive resolution, no happy ending. It is a bleak album through and through. But that's what makes it fantastic. The central themes of Ladies and Gentlemen are obsession, heartbreak, and dulling the pain with equally mentally and physically destructive activities, sometimes all at once. Several songs, like Broken Heart, Cop Shoot Cop, and Home of the Brave, directly reference drug use or alcohol consumption. However, it doesn't seem like Jason is glorifying it. He's showing how bad it makes an already awful situation. He acknowledges how temporary and regretful doing these things can be, and there's a sense of emotional anxiety that's draped over these lyrics and instrumentals. Throughout the album, there's a poignant melancholia that I can't help but feel is real. Jason Pierce has repeatedly stated that his breakup with Kate Radley had no effect on the album or the lyrics that he wrote for the songs, claiming they'd already been finished before he found out about her relationship with Ashcroft. If that's true, then these songs have got to be some of the most coincidentally, poorly timed, and saddening songs out of the alternative rock of the 90s, perhaps even in alternative rock in general. Maybe I'm mislabeling the genres of music, since Spiritualized is above all else a space rock group, but they were at the time far from Britpop, but also not as accessible as the music that was defined as alternative rock at the time. To get back to the music itself, despite being a grandiose album with beautiful and mind-bending arrangements, both orchestral and otherworldly in the sense of the band's space rock sound, it's a tad long. The album lasts approximately 70 minutes, with several tracks spilling over 6 to 8 minutes. The aforementioned closing track, Cop Shoot Cop, is a whopping 17 minutes in length, and it is an undeniable chore to get through. Although I find sections of it to be some of the best moments on the album, the track as a whole feels way too long, fattened up by its middle section of noise and other abstract musical paraphernalia. I feel like the track should have, at the very least, been halved. The album's second single, I Think I'm in Love, while interesting and likable, is another one of the longer pieces on this album. 8 minutes and 11 seconds is its length, and again feels like it should have been halved. Spiritualized has a history of experimenting with instrumental passages in their songs. Look to 1992's Laser-Guided Melodies, for instance. Several songs on that record work with that idea. However, here, they feel a bit repetitive. The two instrumental tracks, The Individual and No God Only Religion, feel, to me, like they're padding out the record's runtime. That's not to say they're bad songs, not by any means. The Individual is a noise rock track that features several horn-based instruments buried in the wall of sound, and feels like some of the band's most psychedelic work early on. No God Only Religion reminds me of Primal Scream if they were in space. I know that's a really limited analogy for it, but it's hard to describe some of the songs on this album, this one especially. Ladies and Gentlemen was released on June 16, 1997, the same day as Radiohead's groundbreaking OK Computer in the UK. Coincidentally enough, both albums were revered by the UK and US music press, with Ladies and Gentlemen unexpectedly being named Album of the Year by NME, beating out OK Computer slightly. While OK Computer lives in an entirely different, futuristic world as this album, and is the more well-known of the two, even going as far as to obtain Greatest Album of All Time nominations by fans and music critics alike, Spiritualized was able to create a different, more anxious and melancholic world that was stuck in the present. Presenting issues that dominated the lyrics of acts like the Smiths and Joy Division upwards of 15 to 20 years prior, they spoke to the hearts and minds of the romantically shattered and offered a place of solace and understanding with Ladies and Gentlemen, We Are Floating in Space. 22 years later, the album continues to influence and inspire musicians and non-musicians alike, becoming a dominant landmark in the history of alternative rock and music as a whole. Since its release, Pierce and Spiritualized have gone through many changes, some good and some bad, and the band continues to release music, with their most recent album, And Nothing Hurt, releasing last year. Unfortunately, no matter what kind of music they make from now until forever, it's very likely that none will reflect the same masterful attitude that this album has, and continues to carry. With that, I give Spiritualized's Ladies and Gentlemen, We Are Floating in Space a 9 out of 10. Thank you all so much for watching this video. It's really appreciated, as always. Really quickly, I'd like to apologize for my last two videos, this included, for being relatively short. I know it's kind of my thing to ramble on somewhat nonsensically until I reach, 7, maybe 8 minutes? I'm starting to think that maybe pushing out as many videos as I have in the past 2 weeks is starting to get to me. I would love to talk as much as I can about every album I review, but sometimes I just can't come up with enough beyond what you saw in videos like this and Chronic Town, and for that, I apologize. I always try to commit myself to posting in-depth videos that explore both the facts and my opinion in the case of reviews, and I plan to put my all into the special video that I'll be posting about 2 weeks from now. I also just wanted to let everybody know that I'm working really hard. I'm not really trying to speak that fast. I know it's hard, for me at least, to do that, and I know I did it a lot in this video, I'm pretty sure, so I'm sorry again. I promise I'm working on it. It is getting better, slowly, but it's happening, I promise. I'm using techniques now to work better at that. So hopefully very soon I'll be able to stop sounding like the Micro Machine Man in my videos. So that's all I really had to say today. So with that, thank you all once again for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, whatever you want to do. Keep being awesome, and I will catch you all in the next review. Take care.